All right. I got to read a little bit of this. When I put the PC shot on, he said, anyways, I wanted to say that I'm happy to have you back. Aw. And since the last show, you talked about death and the afterlife. Strangely enough, a blood relative of mine told me that she had stomach cancer recently. And she is a single mother, pretty much the ones that you describe. And if she dies, I can only imagine the kid will be messed up for the rest of his life. The father is a deadbeat and pretty much wanted nothing to do with the mother and the kid and kicked her out. And so he's growing up without a father thus far. And if she dies, who knows what will happen to the kid. Well, I mean, that's the point. You know, when you have a child, I think everybody needs to recognize that you were born based on a selfish decision about your parents. Your parents said, I want to have a child. And if they didn't plan to have you, and they didn't, put you in mind as part of their life, like, hey, look, I'm not doing anything without my kid, and then, in my personal opinion, I think that that's something that we should discourage as a society. I mean, it's one thing to be like, hey, look, I love this guy, I love this girl, and you have some relationship. When you bring in children, you both have to recognize that you have to be selfless. And the whole purpose why you two people are working is hopefully to maintain a very good childhood, and not one that's overspoiled, like we just saw with some of these PlayStation 2 pricks, but one that's enough that not only appreciates the ease of life that child is going to be bestowed because of your generosity and you being good parents, but you have to talk to these kids. You got to have conversations with kids, even if they're young. I mean, they look to you. You can't get as angry as you want to in front of your children. You can't be sitting there and I don't know, fucking talking garbage to your fucking significant other in some vile capacity if you have children. You have to maintain a whole different perspective. This is what used to make adults adults. Because adults would actually be like, hey, look, I have to contain whatever I would be if I was my single self or no child self because I have children. Anyway, didn't mean to feel as bad, man, but it was weighing on my mind, and it just makes me think of everything that you've said in the past. Everything dies, and we're lucky to die peacefully. 100%. All right, Bob, Tom, 100%, dude. You know? I mean, I don't mean to sound cheesy or corny, but that's really what it's about. That's why, you know, if you wake up the next day, you're like, all right, I get to see another morning, or I get to see another day. And sometimes those days aren't great. Sometimes those days don't go by the way you think they're going to go, and you're like, fuck this fucking place. I hate this fucking place. But remember that this could be worse. Modernity is the only reason that you have the perspective that you have. The modern times. We know that there's going to be food at the supermarket when we drive there. We know that there's going to be food when we go through a drive-thru of some fucking fast food joint. We have comforts that, believe it or not, are not accorded to at least 70% of the world. So, as bad as you think that it is here, even at the worst times, anybody in the world, at least 70% of the people in the world, would trade places with you. And once again, this is why we have so many people risking their lives and risking everything to come into this fucking country, because all they want is the opportunity to earn. And if they have the opportunity to earn, that's when they have the freedom to carve the life that they want, because they couldn't have it in their fucking communist pissing ground or wherever the fuck they came from. So anyway, sorry. All right. Anyway, what was it? My cat died peacefully, I believe. But not everyone is so lucky. I used to have an older sister until she died 7 years old. And it was because of a virus. So when you say life is a punishment from the Creator, it makes me think. Even at the funeral, someone went up to my dad at the time and said she was burning in hell. Are you fucking kidding me? It makes me think, is all. Well, look, Bob Tom, I know I'm very cynical, all right? But the reason I'm very cynical, and yeah, anyways, hail Ghostler, hail your cat. But the reason I'm very cynical is because that's how I've had to be my whole life, Bob Tom, you know? I mean, you have a father, and you talked about a father, you talked about family. My family wasn't like that. You know, my parents, once again, when I say, you know, parents have you out of selfishness, that's the way it is. And my parents, they had me and my siblings, and they really didn't plan for us. Or even if they did, they certainly didn't plan for what life that they were going to lead us, or whether or not we were, you know, or they were going to have sustainable income, or whatever the case might be. But you can't hold. You see, this is the bad part about what the modern generations don't understand. You can't hold the bad shit that you had in your childhood and think that that's the justification for why you are the way you are. People have it bad, dude. People have it fucked up. I mean, take a look at the war that's going on with Russia and Ukraine. Doesn't matter what fucking side you're on. People are dying. And the folks that are dying over there, you know, the males that are dying over there, they were looked upon as, I would say, something favorable, something to look up to. And people that knew them have to know that they're dead. They're fucking dead. And it's really fucked up. I don't mean to be a fucking feels bad man. I certainly do not, but I'm a realist. And, you know, me being a realist is what has navigated me throughout this life. Because if you live in fantasy and you think things are going to go the way you think they're going to go, you're always going to be disappointed. But if you have a realist perspective and understand that, hey, look, this is probably going to happen, but if this is going to happen, and if I do this, maybe, and that's how people have to think. Because the future is according to nobody. The plans that you make are not going to go according to your fucking precise verbatim plan. And that's what life's about. You have to pivot. You have to figure it out, man. I mean, this is not easy. There's no such thing as there's directions to life, or this is how you do it. You do it based upon the opportunities that you have here. And that's why I love this country. I love America, because nowhere else in this world do you have the opportunity and the freedom to be able to do the things that you can do in this country. And that's why these people are coming in here and doing whatever it takes to come into this place. Anyway, go fuck off, dude. I'm not doing the God rant, all right? Or five-finger prostate punch. I'm just saying. Anyway, let's get to Aesthetic. Aesthetic said 5 beers, all right? There's one. First is some masculine motivation. I really sincerely hope so, because we could certainly use it. And second is an EDM song, your choice. I got 3. All right, let me get to that when we get to it. All right, let's get to your first video there, Aesthetic. Masculine motivation. All right, let's see what the hell this is. All right, put the PC shot on.
You have problems. Most guys are overwhelmed by them. They whine and complain about their problems like a little girl.
How quaint that I was just discussing about all this shit. And then Aesthetic leads in with a video like this. Isn't it ironic? Don't you think? Anyway, go ahead. Play it is, all right?
Pathetic. You can tell the size of a man by the size of the problems that brings him down. So if you can't deal with small issues, you're a very small man.
You are.
You see, life is problems. Living is solving problems.
Yes!
And sometimes all it takes to deal with those obstacles are a few masculine habits.
Oh,
But
yeah?
before I tell you what those habits are, you need to understand something very important.
What is that?
Even if you solve all your current problems, new ones will come your way.
Hey, that's the problem with being a man, baby, all right? That's why women, they would be like, hey, look, I don't have to deal with these problems. All I got to do...
I'd buy that for $1.
You skip my 30-second vid. All right, I'll get to it, Bob Tom. But it's not like women. Women can simply be a Twitch thought. They can be an OnlyFans whore and bypass these problems. The problem with that is that they're bypassing the physiological problems. What I mean by that, the physical world, like finance and how I'm going to eat and materialism. They're not compensating or even entertaining the internal feelings of who the fuck you are. Okay, great. You got all these things. You got all this shit. Who the fuck are you? And that's what you have to figure out before you think that you want anything, before you think that you should aspire to some materialistic, some kind of materialistic limit. You have to figure out who you are, man. And once you figure out who you are, and you're okay with that, no matter what your socioeconomic strata is, then, I mean, who gives a shit, right? Who gives a fuck?
It's a
Sorry,
fact of
all right?
life. So
Y'all
you
want to
better
watch
be
the
ready
fucking
for it.
video? Watch
We
the
will go
fucking
over
video,
5
all
masculine
right?
habits that will
5
solve
masculine
your
habits,
problems.
all right?
Number one.
Number one.
Rule your mind.
Oh,
You have 2 choices.
rule your mind. Dude, do you think... And look, I'm not trying to give any kind of credence to mental health. I think mental health is a bunch of bullshit. But rule your mind is not something that you can just tell people and they're going to be able to do it. You know? Let me give you guys an example. I know you guys are probably up late with me. I've been on for 8 hours and 18 minutes. But let me give you an example. You want to know if you can control your mind? All right, do an exercise with me right now. All right, close your eyes. I'm not fucking joking around. Close your eyes and start breathing in. And breathe in for about 3 to 5 seconds and then hold it. And then breathe out for 3 to 5 seconds and then hold it. And then continue doing that. And if you can't, like, completely eliminate your thoughts of anything and focus on your breathing, all right? If you can't focus anything else than your breathing, then you don't have control of your mind. You have to have the ability to be able to control your mind where all you're focused on is your breathing. Without your mind going into wherever the fuck, the La La Land and all this fucking fantasy bullshit. Once you can conquer that exercise, that's the first step to really conquering life, if you want my personal opinion, all right?
To control your mind, or to let your mind control
If you want my personal
you.
opinion.
Most guys bring problems upon themselves. Their problems are self-inflicted because they are their own worst enemy. And the reason for this is simple. They don't rule their mind. And if you don't rule your mind...
But ruling your... That's a very abstract term. Because ruling your mind could mean anything. I mean, believe it or not, most people think that their mind is in fantasy. And when you tell somebody an abstract concept like, oh, rule your mind, and their mind is just infested with fucking fantasy, they're going to try to rule their mind in fantasy. You've got to tell people how to control their mind to think about absolutely nothing on command. And if you can think about absolutely nothing, it's very easy. All you have to do is focus on your breathing. I know it's cheesy. I know it's stupid. I know it doesn't sound very chic. I know it sounds new age. But if you breathe, like just give, look, simple as this. Breathe in for 3 to 5 seconds. Hold it. And just think about your breathing. Think about the time that you need, 4 to 5 seconds, then breathe out. And then hold it. And don't think about anything else. And if you can't think about anything else but your breathing, then you know that you can't control your mind. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. If you can control your mind, and I'm talking about I'm not just talking about for 5 seconds there, Cornbread. I'm talking about if you can do that for minutes. And then you can do that for, a half hour. If you can do that that's where you're in control. And you don't have to be in any meditative state. You don't have to be, like Mahatma Gandhi or, all you have to do is put yourself in a comfortable situation. Outside, if you like to, I like outside. I like looking at nature. I like looking at the woodland creatures, the goddamn, the trees, plants, and all that shit. But put yourself in whatever comfortable situation and just do that. Like when you find your mind just like going out of control, just focus on your breathing and just... And believe it or not, what you do with that breathing, because breathing is very important. You're lowering your blood pressure. You're lowering your heartbeat. And when you can do that on command, then you're in control not only of your mind, but your body and soul. Not to sound like some new age person, but there is some kind of validity to this shit. All right, anyway, go ahead and listen to the rest of this. Once again, Aesthetic, he requested this shit. Take with whatever I said what you will. I'll be right back. I gotta go take another. I've been drinking beer. How many beers have I had? Fucking 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I'm on my fucking 12th beer. All right. So here we go. Play it.
It will rule you. It will lead you towards problems, bad habits, and activities. Because no control over your mind means you have no control over your desires. And the worst thing about it is, you won't even blame yourself. Think about it. When is the last time you heard a broke man admit it's his own fault he's broke? Or an obese man say he's been a fat pig that eats too much? It almost never happens. They'll blame everyone around them before they'll ever blame themselves. Pathetic. As a man, you should always remember that you are the one that controls your thoughts and actions. You can really change because your reality is based on the way you think. I know this doesn't sound fancy. It's not some cheap trick. But controlling your mind comes before anything else. All self-improvement is meaningless garbage if you are a slave to your own mind. I want you to remember what I'm about to tell you. Our mind is truly powerful, and anything that's truly powerful has the capability to create amazing things or be very destructive. You are gifted with power, and if you don't control that power, your life will end up in shambles, like you see with 99% of people around you. Now, let me tell you how to tame this beast called your mind. You have to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is a mental state achieved by focusing your awareness on the present moment, while calmly acknowledging and accepting your feelings and thoughts. I know this doesn't sound fancy. It's not some cheap trick, but it's extremely important.
What is this guy talking about?
There are different ways to practice mindfulness.
Mindfulness.
It could be taking a walk in nature without your phone. Just being in the...
Well, this is decent information. This is exactly what I was alluding to, but it's one thing to go and be like, oh, look at this scene, look at this scenery. The point is just to control your mind. Okay? You put yourself in a comfortable situation. You don't expose yourself to shit. Before you expose yourself to shit to be like, oh my God, I appreciate this, you got to control your mind. And I'm sorry, I know some of you people are like, I like living in fantasy land, Ghost. I don't really want to hear this bullshit. Why do I say that you have to control your breathing? And you have to focus on your breathing. And while you're focusing on your breathing, that's all you should focus on and have no other thoughts enter your brain. Why? Because breathing is what keeps you alive. And when you focus on your breathing, once again, just... and all you think about is your fucking breath, then you're in control of your mind. And what you'll find is that once you stop focusing on your breath because you're in such a comfort, such a well-oxygenated, kind of situation, that's when you can start thinking about things because you're in a calm state. You're oxygenated. I'm trying to be serious. I know some of you people don't give a shit, but I'm trying to help you guys, man. I'm trying to help you guys because this world's fucking horrible. It's not a fucking great place. All right? To some people, bad decisions are not as costly to one's time and energy as others. And I'm just saying, everybody out there... you deserve to be content in whatever time that you have on this planet. And the only way that you can do that is if you control your mind. Because if you can control your mind, you don't need material to be rich. I mean, that's why they're like, hey, go this fucking whatever the hell this is. Go to a place that, makes you feel this way and makes you feel that way. That's why we have adrenaline junkies. That's why we have... That's why we have folks that are travelers and shit like that. And if you take a look at them, if they're genuine, they love what they're doing. Let me give you a good example. Y'all are familiar with a travel eater named Mark Wines. I don't know if y'all are familiar with him, but this guy Mark Wines has been going all over the world, trying anything. He's not... And you know what? He looks genuinely fucking happy in doing what he's doing because he's in control of his mind and he's in control of his world. If you can control your mind, you can control your world, whatever your world is. But you got to control your mind. And if you can't control your mind, then your world can't be controlled,
Present moment. Or by journaling and writing your thoughts on paper. Another way is by observing your breathing. You can do this a few minutes
I just said that. Didn't I just say that? I just said that shit.
a day. Just focusing on your breathing.
I just said this shit. I've never heard this fucking video. I just said that shit. It is very important. Because if you can focus on your breathing, because it's what creates your life. You be your breath. And if you can be able to just focus on it. Don't think about nothing else. Don't let anything else come to your mind. It's an exercise. It's not something you can do overnight. But if you can do it, believe me, that's the first step in changing whatever it is that you want to do. I'm not fucking around. Look at this. Doing the same shit. The only difference is I would hold in every step of this. You breathe in for 4 to 5 seconds and then hold it for 4 to 5 seconds. Breathe out and then hold it for 45 seconds. Because if you just continue to breathe in and breathe out, this is the step to hyperventilation. But if you breathe in and then hold it, and then breathe out, you naturally, believe it or not, through this method, they teach this method to Navy SEALs and CIA agents, believe it or not. But they teach you to do this subtly so that you can always be in control of a situation. No matter what the stress, that is put under the person that is taught these methods,
There are many different ways to practice mindfulness and take control of your mind, and there isn't a single best way to do it. You need to find what works for you. But those that are glued to their phones will be unable to comprehend what I've said. So let me say this one more time. Rule your mind, or it will rule you. Number 2, make money. Making money is a masculine trait, and although...
I don't understand. Look, I don't know why they're putting the Tates up here. Look, it'd be one thing if the Tates created a company that employed people, because that's what capitalism is. Capitalism isn't being some scumbag like the Tate brothers taking advantage of a bunch of sluts in wherever the fuck they found these bitches and force them to allegedly drain the goddamn bank accounts of simps all over the world and give it to them. I mean, that's how this fucking idiot fucking made his money. There's nothing productive about that. You see, as a capitalist and as somebody who makes money, you have to produce something. I mean, even if you create something ridiculous and if it's a product, I mean, if it's produced and people are employed to produce it, you are contributing way more than anybody in this fucking society. That's why I hope the Tate brothers not only get thrown in jail, I hope that they go down in disgrace. Because what are the Tate brothers producing? It's not like Jeff Bezos, okay? Jeff Bezos, probably the greatest CEO that ever lived, created a company out of a simple bookstore. An online bookstore is what he actually initiated Amazon as. And he changed that bookstore into being the biggest retailer in the world. And that's productivity, because look at all the employees at every fucking level, from the executive level to the mid-level management to the people on the ground, all the people that are being employed because of this man. So, okay, great. You make money. You have to have a reason for making money, because making money, believe it or not, a drug dealer can make money. Somebody who sells illegal guns can make money. But it's what your fucking community, the community around you, the place that you live, the place that you do business, it's up to those folks into making you who you are. Because look at this scumbag Andrew Tate. The only people that believe this idiot are, I hate to say, incel losers that this guy is saying key words to, and that's why, I mean, he's getting money from that. He's getting money from fucking all kinds of shit of exploiting people's whatever, lust, fear, whatever the case might be. He's producing nothing. It'd be a different story if Andrew Tate, after all these years, was producing fucking people out of his so-called, I don't know, Tate University or whatever the hell it might be, and they're out here fucking making moves on Wall Street. Or they're making moves in business. They're not doing a goddamn thing. This guy is a fucking piece of shit. Anyway, play this.
So money does not solve all problems. It solves all money problems. Like it or hate it, the world is run by money, and a broke man is a powerless man. Listen, as a man, you need to make money. It is one of your duties as a provider. Some people have already given up on themselves.
That's pretty
and
true.
They cope. They'll say things like, money is the root of all evil, or money doesn't make you happy. Whenever someone says something like that, just know they are coping. They use an excuse to justify why they're broke or mediocre, because facing reality would hurt them too much. Pathetic.
Coping.
Every man should master the art of making money, and it's never too late to start learning. If you cope with reality.
All right, look, and speaking of money, there's no sum of money that you have to make. All you've got to do is suffice what it is that makes you content. And if you can make the money of whatever lifestyle that makes you content, no matter what socioeconomic strata that is, you're rich. Okay? I mean, it could be middle class. Some people are happy in lower class. But you're rich. If you can suffice your sustenance and you're content with that, you're rich.